Hi everyone. I wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about the differences between working with our minds when we're trying to figure something out or problem solve something or even get over something versus tapping and tuning into our bodies. If you haven't met me, I'm Manisha Tare. I'm a somatic healing practitioner. I support people with embodiment, with healing early patterns of trauma, and really seeing how some of these early experiences in our lives affect our relationships as adults. I think that we don't always recognize that when we're having a struggle in a relationship as an adult and the same kind of pattern or the same feeling of stuckness or the same argument, when it comes up over and over again, there's really an opportunity to look to see what it could be related to or what is really underneath that. Because if you are constantly feeling upset over a very similar topic in a relationship with your partner or with a coworker or with, a sibling, and you notice yourself getting activated in the same way, like you're taking it really personally, or you don't feel seen, or you don't feel heard, and you notice the same theme coming up over and over again, I can pretty much guarantee you that there's more going on than just what you're seeing in terms of that interaction. And so when I'm working with somebody and they share an experience they have, say with their partner, they had a conversation the night before, it got a little bit awkward, it got difficult, they really wanted to speak up and say something, but maybe they felt their throat close, or they just couldn't get it out, or they felt like they were going to cry, or whatever was going on, they just really couldn't speak up and figure it out and say what they needed to say. And while it's certainly supportive to talk that through and kind of calm down and maybe see some of the pieces of, oh, okay, I was feeling like this and this person was experiencing this, and maybe that's why, it didn't go well or it felt awkward or difficult. Yes, while that can certainly be helpful to set up a conversation in a slightly different way the next time, what I find even more impactful for the long term is to really walk through that scenario and invite the person to start to feel into well, tell me more about what was going on when it felt like your throat closed or you felt like an anxiety in your stomach. And not only tell me about it, but I walk them through a process where we slow everything down and I invite them to feel it. So maybe they have their eyes closed, maybe they don't. It really depends on their comfort level. We're on Zoom together, we're not in person together. But when I'm with them, kind of guiding them and really being with them when they are experiencing this level of, just fear or discomfort or whatever is coming up for them, they can start to slow everything down and feel it in a different way. And you might have heard the phrase, you have to feel it to heal it. And I think that can be, it's very clear in some ways, right? You have to feel it to heal it. But then when you really think about what does that really mean, or what does that actually look like? And while it is very difficult to explain and to, explain with words, because it's really this process does not involve a lot of words. It really involves a lot of sitting with and being with and noticing the sensations. It's kind of hard to describe, but I'm trying to do my best here. So I hope that this is landing for some of you. But when we really start to slow everything down and feel, oh, this discomfort, and breathe through it, and I'm helping someone breathe through it, it really releases a massive charge around whatever that experience is. And so the next time they are experiencing something similar in that, someone says the same thing, they might still get upset, but they have so much one awareness around where that might be coming from, but also they've practiced how to hold their body and in a little bit more of a neutral way, or be with the discomfort of their body. So it's kind of you're practicing the discomfort before the next thing happens. And so it's training, right? I have been running for the first time. I just started running last year. And so I did on my own for a little bit, but then I was I'm going to join a class because I don't really know what I'm doing. And so each time I am pushed a little bit differently. I'm given guidance on form and how to breathe and different things. So then the next time I have to go do it by myself, I'm like remembering. And not only just remembering my mind, but remembering like, oh, what did it feel like in my body when I breathed this way, when I was like running up a hill? Or what did it feel like when someone suggested that I move my arms in a certain way when I was doing something? And so it becomes embodied. And that's really what the work is and how it actually creates sustainable results. Because if we're just relying on some strategies in our mind, again, it can definitely be helpful to just get that out, to feel heard and seen. Like, I'm not suggesting that that's not valid and really helpful, but I don't find that it actually changes our reactions or our behavior in the future. So I hope that this kind of helps you see a little bit like what is the difference. Like, they're both good, like working with our minds and working with our bodies, but when we're only working with our minds and not really connected to the body piece, or connected to it very lightly, like, oh, taking a couple of breaths or something like that, good, all good, right? There's like nothing bad about any of this, but I'm just saying it's really hard to really get to that root of sort of, okay, this is like the real fear, and like sitting with that and like processing that. And so when we get to do that, which, to be honest, I do think there's a lot of things that we can do on our own, certainly, but in my own personal experience, I have had the biggest shifts when I've worked with somebody who I know is like trained in trauma-informed practices and can really hold that for me, while I am feeling something really difficult. And, that is exactly what I offer in my work. And so if you have questions about this, if you're curious about this, if you are noticing, I'm really struggling in my relationship and I've done a lot of different kinds of like therapies or other modalities, and they really haven't made like the difference that I want, then I would love to just have a conversation with you. Let me know if this is something that's interesting to you. If you're even just curious to explore a little bit more, I have some like free meditations and stuff up on SoundCloud. So I'm always happy to share resources. I think this work is so profound and so impactful, but I also recognize that it's not super mainstream, and I think it's hard to move towards something when we don't understand it. So I would love to just help you in understanding it better if you're curious and if you have this inkling that this might be the right kind of support for you. So I hope that was helpful, and open to any questions you have. All right, take care.